Life inside the secret annex changed once again with the arrival of Mr. Dussel. Anne tries to welcome him with kindness, even though sharing her small room with a stranger is far from easy. She reminds herself that helping another human being is more important than personal comfort. Still, she quickly notices that Dussel struggles to adapt to the strict rules of hiding. He asks the same questions repeatedly, forgets instructions, and seems overwhelmed by the sudden change in his life. Despite his awkwardness, Dussel brings with him something far heavier than inconvenience: news from the outside world. And those news are devastating. Night after night, Jewish families are dragged from their homes. Streets echo with boots, engines, and cries. Children, elderly people, pregnant women, no one is spared. Anne imagines endless lines of innocent people walking toward an unknown fate, guarded by soldiers who show no mercy. The images haunt her. She feels ashamed of sleeping in a warm bed while friends are beaten, starved, or killed simply because they are Jewish. Guilt becomes a silent companion. Safety, she realizes, is a privilege built on the suffering of others. Inside the annex, the group struggles to process this horror. They try to remain cheerful, to joke, to continue living, not because they forget the suffering, but because despair would destroy what little strength they have left. Anne wonders if it is wrong to laugh when so many are dying. She concludes that sadness alone cannot save anyone. Yet another pain grows inside her: loneliness. She feels emotionally abandoned. Her world, once filled with friends and laughter, now feels empty. Even her father, whom she loves deeply, can no longer fill that space completely. Anne becomes aware of her own inner life, her fears, her thoughts, her fragile sense of identity. Winter brings darkness, cold, and shortages. Electricity is rationed. Even reading becomes difficult. In the evenings, they pass time in silence, in whispers, or by watching neighbors through binoculars. Ordinary people living ordinary lives appear almost unreal to her now. Daily life in hiding continues with small absurdities and quiet humor: homemade sausages hanging from the ceiling, clumsy medical treatments, improvised dental work, and endless family tensions. Laughter still finds a way to exist, even among fear. Festivals arrive quietly. Hanukkah candles burn only for a few minutes. St. Nicholas brings small gifts and fragile joy. These moments feel precious, proof that human warmth can survive even in the darkest places. But outside, the world is burning. Anne watches hungry children in the streets. Families disappear, cities are bombed, nations bleed. She feels helpless, angry, and painfully aware that safety is temporary. Her frustration inside the annex grows. Criticism, misunderstandings, and emotional wounds pile up. Anne feels judged, misunderstood, and trapped inside expectations she cannot meet. She hides her tears, her anger, and her exhaustion behind humor and silence. She does not want pity. She does not want comfort. She wants to be understood. And yet, she keeps writing. Because writing is the only place where she can exist exactly as she is: confused, brave, fragile, hopeful, and alive. March 1943 arrives, with fear already living within the walls of the secret annex. One evening, the electricity suddenly fails. Darkness fills the rooms just as distant explosions shake the city. The sound is so close and violent that Anne cannot tell where it comes from. Her heart races. She leaves her bed and goes to her father, not caring if it seems childish. In moments like this, fear has no age. Everyone tries to remain calm, but no one truly is. Even the adults whisper with trembling voices. A single candle is lit, a small and fragile light standing against the noise of war. Outside, Amsterdam is burning. Inside, silence is survival. Fear has many faces in hiding. Sometimes it is the sound of bombs, sometimes it is only imagination. One night, Mrs. Van Daan is convinced that thieves have entered the attic. She wakes her husband in panic, certain that food has been stolen, maybe even Peter himself. But when they search, nothing is missing, only their peace of mind. Later, the truth is discovered. It was not thieves, it was rats. Huge rats moving through the attic in the darkness. Mushi the cat is sent to guard the space, and for a while the problem disappears, but not the memory. Soon, Peter has his own frightening encounter. While climbing down the stairs, he touches something warm and alive. A rat bites his hand. He falls backward in shock, his face pale, his body shaking. Blood stains his sleeve. Anne watches in horror, realizing how fragile they all truly are. Life in hiding continues between terror and absurdity. Food grows worse. Beans appear again and again. Anne begins to hate even the smell of them. Clothes no longer fit. Shoes fall apart. Cigarettes are rare. Soap is precious. Everything that once seemed ordinary now feels like a luxury. To escape, Anne reads, she studies, she cuts her father's hair, she writes. These small actions help her remember that she is still a girl, not only a person in hiding. The radio becomes their fragile connection to the world. Sometimes it brings hope, more often it brings sorrow. Countries may enter the war, then do not. Money loses value. Wounded soldiers speak proudly of missing limbs. Anne finds this both brave and heartbreaking. One night, new noises rise from the warehouse below. Footsteps, movements. The fear returns instantly. Everyone moves only in socks. No one dares to breathe loudly. The radio stays on an English station, a dangerous mistake, but also a source of comfort. Two men go downstairs armed with nothing but courage and a hammer. Nothing is found, but no one sleeps. Anne later reflects how easy it is to laugh after danger has passed and how impossible it is while waiting for it. She continues studying mythology, finding comfort in ancient stories of gods and heroes. Outside, however, the modern world is cruel. New laws force Jewish families from their homes. Anne writes that they are treated like unwanted objects, pushed from place to place without mercy. Spring brings no peace. Illness spreads through the annex. Tension grows. Anne tries to help, but often feels invisible. One evening, she falls asleep on the cold floor while trying to listen to adults whisper about the future. Her relationship with her mother becomes more painful. One night, Anne refuses to pray with her. The moment leaves a deep wound. Anne knows she has hurt her mother, and she also knows the distance between them has been growing for a long time. She promises herself something important. She will no longer hide from the truth, even when it hurts. The war continues. Airplanes burn in the sky. Parachutes fall like white flowers. Young soldiers are captured. Anne wonders how anyone can remain sane after jumping out of fire. Schools demand loyalty to the enemy. Many students refuse and disappear into forced labor camps. Then, one night, an explosion is so powerful that Anne believes the house itself has been destroyed. She screams for light. Nothing has happened, but fear stays long after the sound fades. Still, they laugh sometimes. They celebrate small moments. They survive. June arrives. Anne receives a poem from her father for her birthday. It speaks of growth, of criticism, of becoming stronger through pain. She feels deeply loved. She receives books, sweets, tiny pieces of joy. She writes that she is probably honored more than she deserves, but the reader understands something Anne does not yet fully realize. She is not only a girl in hiding. She is becoming a voice that will one day speak for millions who were never allowed to speak again.